Hey guys, I'm Max82 and welcome back to this month's reading journal. This is the reading journal for the month of July 2021. As you can see by this stack here, I read a bit more than usual. Sort of running behind today, running a little slow. I went to bed way too late last night, so I got up a bit late as well. So I got my lunch. Camera battery dying already? So I'm taking my lunch here. This is some like chicken, rice, broccoli thing made the other day. We're good. And I got Sprite, some cookies. I try to make this show pretty chill and then cut out most of the eating in the published version, so we're gonna hang out. But I will probably have to change the camera battery first, so we'll start there. Alright, I've taken care of that now, so we'll start to get into these books. So I'm just going to go through them in the order they're laying here. So I'm not doing the manga box stuff first. I'll let you know what stuff is from that. This is pretty much the order that they're on this list. I mean, not exactly, because I don't remember exactly what order I wrote them down in, but we're going to start with Video Girl I. So this one, I think I don't remember, let me look. I think it's from it's from like the late 80s, 89 it looks like it was originally published in Japan. And it's basically, you got this kid who has no luck in love. In the English, he's called, I think, Dateless. Dateless is his nickname. So he's like crushing on this one girl in his class. And he's gonna ask her out. But she likes his best friend, in quotes. The best friend is kind of a jerk, so I don't know about how friend they are. But, so he's trying to help her get with his best friend despite liking her himself, or whatever it seems. But to mix all this up and make it more complicated, you have this person, the video girl of the title. The kid ends up at this, basically a magic video rental store, and he picks up a tape from the adult video section and takes it home. And because it's a magic video store, you don't have to pay for it. You just get a membership card, come back. And so he puts the tape in his broken VCR, and because the VCR is broken, it makes the video girl of the title not come out of the tape correctly or something. So she comes out of the tape and she's sort of tomboyish and standoffish, but like genuinely is trying to help in a way. It's very interesting. I do want to read more of this series. It is fun. I imagine it's some sort of classic. I think it said it was originally published in English in 1999. And this seems like something that would be considered a classic, and I just haven't heard of it. Though it does have a familiar title when I got it. It's something that, like, I recognize this for some reason, but I can't tell you why or what. So, because this is something that appears, according to Wikipedia, to continually get adaptations and like live action. It's had a couple anime, I believe, even up until I think it had a live action adaptation just a couple years ago in like 2018 in Japan. So like this is something that seems to still be culturally relevant in a sense, which is interesting, and I like this one. So the next one I can go about talking about in one of two ways. I can talk about it in the real life way, where I talk about it as or the real life book it is, or I can talk about it in the sort of alternate universe fiction way that it exists. And I'm going to start with the fun one, the alternate. So, Top 10 Games You Can Play in Your Head is a compilation of games from an unknown publisher, what's his... Theophrastus Bartholomew, I believe is the guy's name. He published a bunch of volumes of a series called Games You Can Play in Your Head by Yourself through the 80s and 90s, and this is a compilation by Sam Gorski and D.F. Lovett of the best games from that, and really gives you a sense of adventure, or whatever. This is like non-fiction, like games you can play in your head, sort of like a choose your own adventure book or a tabletop game source book sort of thing, but for single player, entirely imagination based games. And it's a fun read. I like how you have the narrator, Theophrastus Bartholomew, who has this opinion of things that's like very prevalent. He's a very opinionated person, but he's trying to present these things in like a way that it's like, this is the correct way. But at the same time, it's got this fun thing where it's like, you can use your imagination to go anywhere, but then it has all these games have these rules and these specific ways you have to play them, and these specific ways you get into a headspace that will let you play them. And I imagine something like this could be used as sort of a guided meditation or something, because it is sort of like, take a break from the world, immerse yourself in a fictional world of your own creation. But I don't know, it's just a fun little read. Yeah, I had a great time with it. I don't know, it's a fun little like alternate world. Not really an ARG, because it's not a game. I think there's a term for it, but I don't know what it is. It's a fun thing, and I like it. Your mind is now the ultimate gaming engine, folks. You just need to buy this book, and it'll teach you how. I think it was only like $10, $15, so it's fun. I really wish that I had the time to like pretend or to attempt the stuff that is detailed in here. I just don't have the time, the focus. I do have the imagination, but I like how one of the games is just chess. Like, the games are, if I find the table of contents, Adventure, Space, Dungeons, Trucks, The Visitor, The Alamo, Murder Night, Your Job, Chess, and Another Life. They're all so different and fun and like well thought out as to how they're like ridiculous in a sense. I had a good time with this one. So the next book on the list here is Harus Curse. Story about these two folks. Her sister / his fiance dies, and in the aftermath of that, these two start sort of secretly kind of dating. And it's just sort of like, it's good, it's well written, it's literally this thick in mostly just two people feeling exceptionally guilty for most of it. Two people trying to have a relationship with each other, but the fact that there's a dead person that they both had sort of an intimate relationship with, it just hangs over them through the course of the book. And it's got some cutesy parts, and but like, I honestly wish it ended differently, personally. And I get the kind of the thesis statement, I guess, in a sense. I'm not really spoiling things because maybe you want to read it. It's heavy for the most part. I do kind of recommend it if you have the headspace to take on, something that emotionally complex, because really does a good job, but it's kind of insufferable, and I could not wait to be done with it. I'm so glad it's a single volume thing, and it's just, this is the whole story. I don't have to think about it past this. I don't have to go find volume 2. It's just over now, and that's cool. I can't say I regret reading it, because it is something that I think is a good read. I just don't think I will ever read it again. And, yeah. It's very heavy and complex from an emotional standpoint. And it does that well. I just don't want to live in this space for any time. I don't want to live here anymore. There's just sort of like, ugh. The whole time it's just, ugh. Can I be done? I just want to be done with this emotional place. It's heavy stuff, honestly. Something that isn't heavy stuff is I finally got the rest of Heroes Reborn. Issues 3 through 7 came in the mail, so I got that. I also got, had to go out and buy the Conclusion Heroes Return because it wasn't included in my mail subscription. And then down here, might as well talk about it with these. I also went out and bought one of the spin-off one-shots, American Knights, because I was interested in what looked to be how Nighthawk worked in the world, how this Commissioner Luke Cage, and how this Daredevil dude, who he was, what was going on there. For people who are on my Patreon and watching the extended version of this, I will get a bit in depth with each issue, but to keep this shorter for the public version, I'll just give a brief overview. I liked it, but I wish that rather than most of the issues focusing on a member of the Squadron Supreme, that I followed Blade and what he was doing more. Because there's some cool stuff in these, and there's some really interesting uses of the Justice League pastiche here and there. But the reason I'd picked this up was because I'm like, oh cool, a story with Blade as the lead character. A modern story with Blade as the lead character. I want to look at that. I want to see how that goes. But then, like, he's not really there. Like, we don't follow Blade after the first issue. So, it was sort of like a bit of a disappointment in that fact. But I do like the sort of alternate universe shenanigans. It was annoying that I had to go out and buy the Conclusion issue, and it wasn't just included in my print subscription. That was kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Non-patrons, welcome back. I like that each issue gets a different art style based on which member of the Squadron Supreme it is focusing on. So it tries to match the art style to the character. I like that. I generally liked it. I just felt like it's a bit too reliant on you having knowledge of events in the Marvel Universe, which luckily I've read the 2009 version of the Marvel Encyclopedia. It's over there, I believe. Maybe it's in the tote in there. But either way, I've read that. I know quite a bit about pretty much everything up to Civil War, the first one, and I know some stuff here and there. After that, I know quite a bit about DC characters, the characters that are being pastiched by the Squadron Supreme, so I can make those comparisons as well. And I think the main problem for this series is that it relies on your comics knowledge, not even just Marvel knowledge, Marvel and DC knowledge, which makes it a bit, it gives it a bit too much of a requirement for entry. But I liked it because it also does have all that stuff for people like me who kind of know stuff. And it's like, hey, they gave the Batman pastiche Spider-Man's villains and Spider-Man's lore for the most part. I don't know, it's just cool, interesting, and I liked it. And that's this whole series talked about. Again, if you want to hear the extended version where I talk about each individual issue, you can get that on Patreon at the $1 tier. So next, we're talking about Demon Days Mariko by Peach Momoko. This is a sequel. This is the second issue in the story started with Demon Days X-Men. This is set in a modern day with Mariko being the lead, trying to figure out some stuff about her past and stuff. I still really like the sort of merging of Marvel lore with sort of yokai and Japanese mythos type stuff. The art is gorgeous the whole way through. I cannot do anything but recommend this Demon Days series by Peach Momoko. I don't even know, I don't even really want to talk much about it because it's just, I want you to go buy it and read it so that maybe this just goes on forever. Because that would be great. I think, let me look, I think the next issue comes out this month. I think they're coming out, it comes out in September. So they're coming out every couple months. But I really like it. As someone who has a bit of a knowledge and interest in Japanese culture, and has a lot of knowledge and interest in Marvel Comics, this is like something really, really designed for someone like me. Alright, so next we're talking about the X-Men. So, this is an event that happened in the month of June. The Hellfire Gala. I'm not really going to talk about this. This is more of like a behind-the-scenes concept art. This is the books that the story takes place in type thing. But I figured I'd mention it because I did read it for the most part over the last month. But the big part, the big thing, is planet-sized X-Men. This was sort of the culmination of the event. This was where it all led to. So, I was kind of hoping there would be Hellfire Gala scenes in here, so that I'd at least, like, get to see a bit of the gala. But apparently if I want that, I have to go buy the, like, 12, I mean, look, what is it, like 12 issues that came out over the month of June? 12 including Planet-Sized X-Men. If I want to know what happens at the Hellfire Gala, I gotta buy that. And I don't really want to buy all 12 issues. That's why I just bought this. So that I can be like, this will probably give me enough of the story. But luckily I picked up this. I got to see some of this. Has some of the costume designs in it. This is free. If you go to a comic book store, they might have them sitting out for free. So that's probably the best way to get really an insight on the Hellfire Gala if you don't want to pick through X-Men issues that came out in June of 2021. However, Planet-Sized X-Men, this is a single story that basically, I thought it was going to announce, basically going to work as an announcement for a new volume of the X-Men books, which it kind of does, but also spoilers for this, because I can't talk about this without spoiling it, basically. This book is literally mutants terraforming Mars for other, like, alternate, I don't know exactly where they're from because I'm not very knowledgeable on recent, like, anything that's happened since 2010 Marvel lore, especially, like, really recent as in, like, the last 5 years type stuff. No idea what's going on in the X-Men story. There's a lot of stuff that I've seen, I'm like, what's going on over there? But I don't even know in the slightest. But some, like, alien, not alien, maybe alternate universe, maybe lived inside the Earth, ancient race of mutants or something. They terraformed Mars so they could live there so that the people didn't have to vacate Earth, basically. But they did it secretly. They just were like, this is the announcement at the Hellfire Gala. We terraformed Mars, guys. We've made Mars a habitable planet for humans. Okay. It's not exactly jumping the shark, but it is, I mean, I guess it's, as an event book, yeah, it's a big event. Magneto and Jean Grey and a bunch of other mutants that I don't really know terraformed Mars. That's the book. What? I didn't say I didn't like it. It's kind of cool. It's got some nice imagery in it. And it sure means something for what's happening in X-Men right now. But I don't know what to say about it. There's water on, they put an ocean on Mars. They gave it an atmosphere. They put a sword base in the atmosphere. They made like a, whatchamacallit, an embassy area where people from across the universe can come to be in peace and whatever. Very interesting. No idea where it's going to go. No idea where it's coming from because I don't read X-Men. I was hoping this would have more information for me. So, if you're going to pick this up and being like, I haven't read X-Men in the past 10 years, no idea what's happening, this probably isn't the answer. Probably pick up X-Men. Issue number 1 came out at the end of June, I believe. So, there's those talking about X-Men stuff. It's kind of wild. The next thing I have here is a book that I just picked up on a whim from Amazon. I didn't know what the cover looked like because for some reason Amazon only showed me this back cover, but it is I moved to Los Angeles to work in animation. It's a story of Natalie, the author, and her experience moving from, I think, Seattle to LA to go from freelance drawing to animation, and sort of her experiences and some experiences of her colleagues as well that she interviewed, and they gave sort of their brief stories because everyone's gonna have like a sort of different experience with this situation. So yeah, I thought it was relatively informative if you have thoughts of moving to LA in general, which I don't really, or thoughts about the animation industry. You know, if you have thoughts about any of these two things, might be informative for you. I don't, so I don't know why I bought it. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, yeah. So I don't know why I picked this up. It was just sort of on a whim. It wasn't very expensive, and I'm like, that sounds like something I could read. It is like a graphic novel. It is drawn, but yeah, pretty cool. I don't have much more to say about it. I can't really like spoil it because it is more of like biographical and informative rather than like narrative fiction. So check that out if you like, if you have interest in that. All right, here we are. This is one of the books that came in the manga box. This, Video Girl I and Harus Curse, came in the manga box. The theme was Love is a Curse. This is Yakuza Lover. This is a shoujo beat manga, so it's basically just like a girl's manga. I didn't mention this about this one. This is lewd. It's got some nudity in it. This is also lewd. It doesn't really have nudity in it. It does have a sex scene, but it doesn't really show much. It's more conveying the emotions of the scene, which is sort of how this sort of stuff, I believe, works for the most part. I thought it was fun and funny, but I didn't think it was good, and I'm not gonna buy a volume 2. Basically, you have this guy here. So she goes to a party, walks into the wrong room, and there's a bunch of people who are trying to force her to take drugs, her and her friend. This Yakuza dude comes in and is like, hey, you're pretty. Here's my business card. Go home. I'll talk to you, maybe. And then, like, they sort of fall in love, and he almost gets shot, and he has to go to the hospital, and she's, like, worried about him, but the sort of worry is, like, reinforcing the fact that she does like him, and what's she gonna tell her parents? She can't just tell her parents she's dating a Yakuza, can she? Her family, what happens when they find out? It's drama, schlocky, romance, trash. But I had a kind of fun time with it. If you're into drama, schlocky, romance, trash, maybe this is up your alley. I sometimes am. I think it's funny most of the time. But again, this is like... I mean, I don't think it's... Yeah, this is rated mature. So, only if you're adult. This one is rated teen plus. Where this is just a bit more over the top. With all that. But it's kind of fun. I don't think I'll read it again or get any more of it, but kind of fun. Moving on. I got a couple more comics here. So, this is a Moon Knight run that I was going to grab a print subscription of, but I didn't do it, and I missed issue 1, so I picked up issue 1 from the comic store so that I could check it out and see if it's something that I wanted, because the way that it was framed on the blurb for the print subscription was very interesting. It's not quite that in practice, but it is sort of like Moon Knight is having therapy for his dissociative identity or disorder and whatnot. So it's kind of interesting from that perspective, but it's also like, I don't know what's going on in the Moon. I've never followed Moon Knight, so like the concept that Moon Knight just sort of protects a town is interesting. I don't understand. I don't really know what's gone on in Moon Knight. Apparently, he's sort of realized that the god that he is the fist of, or the hand of, or whatever, is sort of terrible, and so kind of has gone on his own to be like his own person, but he's still the sort of hand of this god. So it's sort of like, it's interesting. I probably will read more of this one because the angle of it being sort of narrated by therapy appointments is really interesting. But it's also, this first issue does a good job of sort of setting up the run. It sets up 2 villains, potential villains. So 2 like potential major conflicts. This is a monthly book. Again, I probably will pick up more of these ones because I am intrigued as to where this will go. So moving on to the next thing. I only got 2 more comics to talk about, and then we're done here. I've been here for a long time for one of these. Like I said, got a lot of books. This is a DC Black Label comic, The Nice House on the Lake. I don't want to spoil this. I want you to go read this. I think there's a couple issues out now, maybe. This is, look at this art. Isn't that, like, it's stylized like it's like a beat up old comic book, like it's been like taken around and read and whatever. This cover is really cool if you can see that. I don't know how you can see these things. What I can tell you without major spoilers is that a weird dude who's sort of kind of friends with a bunch of people invites 10 people to this house on a lake for a getaway for a while. And this, I'm assuming, because all these symbols up here signify each person. And I'm assuming that each issue might follow a different person. This one follows a person who is the artist. The art is really nice. The sort of incorporation of things like this makes it just works really well. I highly recommend The Nice House on the Lake so far. Maybe wait until it's finished and you can buy a collection. The author is the same author. I think it's Something is Killing the Children, which is something I've heard of but never read. So it's the same author, this James Tynion IV. It's the same author. I don't want to tell you anything. I want you to go read this. So last but not least, showing off my biases a little. we have the United States of Captain America. I kind of hate this cover. I kind of love this cover. There's an alternate art that I like better. This is just sort of like very, but like it's Captain America. It is very. So the concept here, Captain America, and Captain America go on a cross-country trip, meeting a bunch of small-town Captain Americas to find Captain America's shield to get it back from an imposter Captain America who stole it and is using it for bad. It's a celebration of Captain America for the 80th anniversary. We have Captain America, Steve Rogers, Captain America, Sam Wilson, Captain America, Bucky Barnes, and Captain America, John Walker. All will be featured in this book at some place, some way. Go on this cross-country trip, trying to get Captain America's shield back. Captain America's shield is going to be displayed at the beginning of this in a museum, but I also like the concept of like small-town folk taking up the iconography to protect their communities, in a sense, that is also being used here. This is another limited series, that has those sort of second micro stories after the end of the main story. That, in this case, it seems like focuses on the small town Captain America featured, so it just gives you some more background in this, in them. And it's called the Captain's Network. And this first issue features the Captain America of the Railways. I probably am going to love this. Captain America is sort of the stuff that I believe about this country that I live in for the most part. And so I can't help it. I couldn't help but be very interested in this. Just like I was very interested in Falcon and Winter Soldier when it came out. Captain America and Captain America fighting Captain America? What? Why wouldn't they want that? I love this dumb comic stuff where you have characters who have all shared the same mantle pulled together to do wacky stuff. It's great. Anyway, I should probably end this and finish my food. So, if you like the video, hit the like button. Didn't like the video? Dislike button. Subscribe if you want to keep up with this and other things. Like I mentioned, Patreon for the extended version of this video. I don't know what all I'm cutting out, but I know that there is some stuff that I've already mentioned that will be cut out. So maybe there'll be more. I don't always decide that on the fly. Leave a comment I think I didn't say yet. Share the video. Do the things. Do the things. Actually, down in the description you can find the link to Patreon and all that stuff. Do the things. Do the things. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.